So when we're doing like heavy stuff, we want every rep to look the same.
Yeah.
That's great for stress response adaptation for maximal output. But this is more like play.
Yeah.
So I can start very linear, and then I can get a little bit more frontal.
The vessel does not matter to me. It's the stress response adaptation. Now, certain things will give me specific stressors so that I can have a response adaptation.
There's the stiffness and compliance.
Yes.
And we want to visit both. Stiffness is performance.
Yeah.
Compliance is health.
Yep.
And when I think about plyometrics, they're generally done in shorter ranges because these shorter ranges allow me to get in and out fast.
Yep.
So I create more force, stiff. But then there's the health aspect, which is what we do in weight training, full range of motion, right? But why would we not apply those same principles to plyometrics from a health and tendon loading? So now I do all this in sport to be fast, to be athletic, but in my warm-up, well, let's take it through full range. Here's what we got. In our deep tier series here, I want you to get your knee over toe, and then we're just gonna keep making this contact. There's an invisible wall that we're gonna tap every time, and let's go into our deep tier hops now. Keep driving that knee forward. Good. And you should get, obviously, a lot more VMO.
Yep.
And then relax. And
Where are you cueing the foot? Are you cueing them to stay on the balls of the feet, or are you cueing a whole foot?
Great question. So once again, if we're trying to focus on lower leg complex, I would say we can make it active foot to where we don't let the heel drop.
Yeah.
Or me personally, especially in the warm-up, I want a full foot contact. I want to see if they can pronate, if they can move their foot, especially if I'm going for the knee. I would love to see if that foot can pronate.
Yes.
The more and more I can get that foot to pronate, that's where I feel really good about all these corrective exercises that we do. Now I'm putting it into action.
So something like that with athletes that are 6'7" plus, how do they perform getting into those deep ranges of motion?
Comfort is first, so I can get them in proper positions, and then we scale. So for example, you're my post, I'm now being nice and tall. They don't like being here. So let's add some stability. And now here's how I can introduce it. I can use a barbell. I can have something to hold me upright, and then I can unload that deep tier hop. Then eventually we can load it with our body weight. Then we can eventually load it with kettlebells, body weight, barbell, whatever we want. This is how we can scale it. Now, then we think about magnitude. So now how do we add an impulse? How do we make it more athletic? How do we make it more violent? And that's where we can get into the performance aspect.
When that would be, now we're getting more intensive, more dynamic, more explosive. What would that look like? So we're already in that split stance. So for me, this is the thing that you get tagged in every day. This is the thing you constantly get tagged in. I think it's great because it builds into that concept of, I think redirection is almost more important than deceleration. Like yes, you can decelerate, and we put all this emphasis on deceleration mechanics, but more importantly, how do we get out of these positions?
Right.
And I think that exercise, that drop split squat, is that what you're kind of referring to of getting into those positions?
100%. I think this is the idea of where we can start with isos, we can build with some impulses, then we can get more violent, then we can change levels.
Yeah.
And this is just physics, right? I'm just adding momentum, and then I add the drop lunge.
Yep.
Okay? And then I'm adding the drop lunge where I'm really compliant. Then I can add different directions.
Yep.
And then I can add more impulse. I look at physics versus physiology. And so when I apply physics to the body, sure, I can do external load. That's great. But when we talk about the strongest stimuli that you can put on the body, it's high velocity sprinting.
Yeah.
It can be up to 6 times body weight on a single leg. I can never recreate that in this space. So that's where a lot of these drop lunges came in. Because if I had imaginary force plates underneath me, if I did this with this weight, it's relatively not hard on the body.
Yeah.
Not as much of a stimuli. But if I drop down into it and have to break that force, the impulse, the magnitude of that is anywhere between 4 to 5 times whatever this weight is.
Yeah.
So then I don't need much equipment. So I also argued that we need to do all these grindy, heavy movements when I can get more ground reaction forces with lighter but faster impulse or magnitude to what I'm trying to get accomplished.
So I like that because now we're applying that stimulus up. Now stiffness is going up, but also now most work, I think, in traditional strength and conditioning is in the sagittal plane. Just even that exercise in yourself, we're working, getting in the frontal plane, we're loading out. And in sports, especially basketball, it is a shimmy.
100%.
It's shimmy, it's evading, it's lateral, and that's any sport outside of bobsled and sprinting.
Right.
But even then, there are rotational forces that they're fighting against too.
Absolutely.
They're not running this, they're striking, they're accelerating to get forward. So when you're coaching this, can you walk me through this one? Because I think,
Absolutely.
Fortunately, this is something you constantly get tagged in.
Yeah.
I see them. Also, it's something that's butchered often.
For sure. I like to give love no matter
Yeah.
if they're exploring or not.
Yeah. So what's the intent that what you would do something like outside of nuance, like just
Right.
broad? Like how would you approach this movement?
For me, I look at this as we're exploring the idea of athletic lifting, right? So like you were talking about, we're very sagittal with our squatting and our lunging. Here, I am looking for a rotation.
Yeah.
Strategically. So when we think about change of direction, obviously I gotta have a lot of internal hip rotation. I gotta have pronation of the foot. I gotta have tibial internal and external rotation. These are the things that help me from a biomechanics standpoint, dissipate the force, load, and go.
Yeah.
So when we do all of our lifting, it's kind of the exact opposite, right? I'm here trying to squat, I'm externally rotated, I'm pronated at my foot because I'm trying to create a stiff foot, I'm externally rotated. Sure, that's a moment, but it's not where we live. So with this, it's getting in and out of those positions, just like you were talking about redirection, same idea. So what here, I like the idea of, okay, for sure, we can be as stiff and straight and linear as possible, but what I'm really looking for is I want to have a little bit of a split. I want to be able to get to more internal
And
rotation.
you're biasing in, or I'm getting adductor because of that.
100%.
I'm getting internal rotation. I'm loading external rotators dynamically.
Exactly. And that's, you will feel glutes like you've never felt before
Yeah.
because of the magnitude of landing this.
Yeah.
So I can do Bulgarian split squats. Sure, that can get me sore. But when you do drop lunges,
Yeah.
it's just different.
Yep.
And that's where I go, what load is doing to the body. Slow load versus fast load. And so anyways, we can do this concept, which I really implore everyone to do, is like every rep is different. So when we're doing like heavy stuff, we want every rep to look the same.
Yeah.
That's great for stress response adaptation for maximal output. But this is more like play.
Yeah.
So I can start very linear and then I can get a little bit more frontal.
Yeah.
And then I can just challenge different angles
Oh yeah, I love that.
and then just play around with it. And I had a term one time, a guy was like, oh, you're dancing with kettlebells? And I was like, low key, yeah.
You are.
Because it's rhythm and coordination and these aspects that we forget in athleticism.
I think it's not only, it's not, I hate the term sport specific, but there are things that are attention grabbers.
For sure.
And if I'm an athlete and I see something that looks similar,
Yeah.
but I can define the why very reasonably, then it's like, it's instant trust, it's instant buy-in. They're like, yep. And it allows an athlete to be an athlete. Whereas if they don't grow up from a traditional strength and conditioning world, you have them do some like Zercher or whatever, and they're kind of like they don't know what to feel. But there's like, hey man, just drop in, just be athletic. Just like, hey, you're just working with a basketball. So can you show that? So now we're speeding it up. So now we have load. So now you're working this force velocity curve of a little bit of load. Now we're a little bit lighter. Now we become more skill oriented.
So now we can take it from resistance to actually sport specific.
Yeah.
And this is cool, right? This is what we do in warm-ups daily with the guys.
Yeah.
But what we can also do is now I got a different implement. Now I can get some spinal engine stuff.
Yeah.
So now I can be here, great. Now I'm here. Now I'm in all these different positions and you can make every rep different.
It's that rep without a rep.
Rep without a rep. And what's cool about that is this is low level. It's not that much stimuli to the body, but it's in those precarious positions. It's read and react. It's not lifting. And these are things that from a neck up standpoint, I feel like has unbelievable like downward effects, downstream effects.
Well, I think it makes them cognitively there.
Yeah.
Like the second you say, change your rep, change your foot position, turn to the left, eyes over here. Now it's like, oh, this is it just changes the exercise and drives intent because now they're more engaged and not just a passive participant of going through a rep scheme.
For sure. I mean, if we look at any tape of any sport, you look at rib and hip disassociation. I think about why don't we spend more time of that in our space? We do in a therapy setting, like in a dead bug, or we do these certain movements, but I'm like, at some point you got to get to high velo.
Yeah.
And so what a great way to introduce rib and hip disassociation than being able to drop and rib and hip disassociate. Same arm, same leg, above the head, all this.
Yeah.
And it's just a warm up. And then what you're going to find is bad athletes look even worse at this.
Yeah.
Good athletes I mean, they'll be able to spinal engine, they'll be able to do all sorts of wild different movements and feel really good about it.
So we were talking about this. So would this would be something that we would talk about how as efficient, high skill athletes, the good weight room athletes aren't always your best players. So now this would be a good example of maybe your best athlete is not a good squatter, not a good bencher, not a good all the traditional things, but they make this look like poetry.
They're amazing.
And
at
then you
this.
got the guys that are those things, and then you ask them to be high skill oriented, do something authentic. For me, this is writing in cursive, or training in cursive. This is fluid, touching something, getting out, touching, and it just allows them an opportunity to display their ability to be in that physical culture standpoint. Like they can also train with their English on the ball.
I love that. That's a really good training in cursive.
Yeah.
I hope you trademarked it. I'm still not. That's just really good. The one thing that I'll also add is can be extensive or intensive. So this could be exploratory in a warm-up. It can be contrast with heavy training. What I found when I introduce this to the athletes, all of a sudden they do it by themselves. And that's the thing that I go, they'll hit a heavy squat and all of a sudden they're just inside and they're like, and I go, that's interesting. And then I see pregame warm-ups and it's 10 minutes left on the clock. The whole gym is filled and cameras are rolling and all of a sudden you see a drop lunge, you see some deep tiers, you see any of this stuff that we do in warm-ups, and I go, they like that then, and it wasn't instructed. The athlete is always right. You just have to supply them enough tools for them to make the right decisions for themselves.
I look at it like when people ask, with their kids playing sports, the best is to expose them to everything.
Yes.
Like we'll find out what works.
Right.
It's that whole optometrist thing. Like what exercises do you like? Like, do you like that? Do you respond well? Oh, then we're going to get a prescription for that movement. Like you don't like that? Next glasses. Like I'm not going to force you into something that feels not real because now we have a negative situation.
Right.
And if you don't want to do something and you're not bought into it, we are wasting our time.
100%. What I get on the back end is, hey, how does that feel? Cory, you're the expert. You tell me. I go, I'm never the expert in your body. But I want to give you enough tools to make the right decisions. But the thing that I find out is the more I ask, the more trust I get where they go, no, I've told you enough. I now need your eyes. I'm like, it's a full circle moment where we go, we have all the right answers. Let me tell you about this.
Yeah.
This is how we squat. So where you give them so much autonomy that they actually do the exact thing that you wanted in the beginning, which is to be able to go, hey, I think this is the best thing for you.